Hey, fellow streakers, we have a very special show for you today. We're going to talk about the Streaking app and just exactly how phenomenal it is with the individual who's been building it in the background, our Chief Marketing Officer, Talan David. Let's get streaking. What is streaking and why should you do it?
Streaking is how you set up personal winning streaks. Look at who you want to be and what you need to do to become that person. This is Streaking.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jami.
And we are streakers. Through 30 years of marriage and 7 children, we have learned the power of consecutive consistency or streaking.
To start streaking is simple. You just follow these 3 laws. Make it laughably simple, keep a record, and join the streaking community.
Streaking is your hidden superpower. With it, you will consistently progress and grow in whatever area of life you want.
In this podcast, Jeff and I will share all the fun, exciting, serious, solemn, wonderful parts of family, spiritual, professional, and personal life, and how streaking powers it all.
So join us in the conversation, join the movement, and start streaking today. Hey, Talan, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you.
Thanks. Great to be here. Love talking about streaking. I could do this all day. And that's what I do every day for a living.
I feel like you should welcome me back because I feel like I've been, I haven't talked to you in this way for a while.
On the podcast?
Yes.
You know what? Yeah. You and I have been absent from. We didn't do a podcast last week, and I think we missed the week before that. So it's been a little bit of time.
A little bit.
It's been crazy though. I mean, we have been moving from Colorado to, I was about to say Georgia.
I know.
It was actually Utah. And so that's been a little bit crazy. We're in a new home. We're unpacking everything, and we're doing the podcast.
So the question I have is, have you kept your streaks alive? You've been busy. You've been moving from state to state.
Yes.
Are they alive still? All of them?
Okay. In the spirit of being completely transparent, I did miss one.
Which one?
I missed the read a paragraph in a book, but not because I missed it, but I realized that I must have been more tired than I thought because I went through them all and somehow I just missed that one the night before.
Did you restart it?
Yeah,
Congrats.
I totally restarted it because
That's
I love
awesome.
that streak. I don't want to lose it, but I was sad. I was like sad because it was an unintentional loss. It was one of those situations where I'm like, I seriously think I was just super tired at the night and didn't realize how tired I was till the next morning and I loved that the app came up and prompted me and says, it looks like you didn't mark a streak last night. And I thought, looks like I didn't do that streak last night.
You're like racking your mind. Did I actually read
I
a
was
paragraph?
thinking,
Yeah.
did I read anything yesterday that I can count?
Yeah.
So, but the rest of I've loved that though, because through this whole experience of moving across the country and starting the kids in new schools and mapping ourselves, back to, I have to map to get home because I don't know how to get to my house anymore. Still reading with the boys every single night, which is definitely something that would fall off my plate at a time like this.
Oh, yeah.
Still writing in my journal.
Well, we have camp chairs set up in the area where a couch should be because we have no furniture yet.
We have no furniture yet. For a couple days, we had no fridge. We have no cooktop yet. And so we were trying to eat with a microwave only, which a lot of people have probably done when you're redoing your house, but it's tricky. But all of that.
Usually the streaks that you have, they would totally not be, you wouldn't be doing them in a situation like this.
No,
not at all.
So does it ground you or does it just add more to your plate?
I love times like this because I think it helps me understand the purpose of streaking, which is, yes, I feel like it grounds me. And the reason it doesn't add to my plate is because I'm able to do the simplest, smallest thing. And because I'm able to do the simplest, smallest thing, those times when I'm tired and I'm like, okay, I know a ton of things happened in the day today, but my journal entry is going to be just bullet points because I don't have the energy to write how I feel but I'm still recording the things that are happening and making that a part of what I'm doing every day.
Yeah, it's been, that is one of the things I think that streaking above all has done for us in the 6 years, 7 years now that we've been doing it is the whole idea that you can, it ebbs and flows with life. Mm-hmm. And so like we've talked a lot about on the Streaking Professional where there's so much that can happen in a day. And then when that happens, when it's crazy over the top, you can go to the floor of what your streak is and still have those done. I always look at it and think when people are listening to us, so streakers, when you're listening to us, I wonder if they're thinking, they're nuts. They're crazy for keeping that alive. Why do that during that time? And I often go back to something you and I've talked about, Talan, and that is when you let it go, it doesn't just automatically restart. I mean, for you to have a streak broken is different, I believe, than intentionally stopping it and saying, I'm just not going to do them. I'll pick it up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was totally different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's been interesting too, because I have had one or two streaks that during this time I've thought, why am I doing this right now? Because it's not. So one of my streaks is to write a question every day to help me get better at asking questions. And there's been a couple times during this move that I get to the end of the day and my brain is fried. And I'm like, I can't even think of a single question to write. Why am I still doing this? But I've kept it going. And then I had the most interesting thing this morning that I was, Chance is reading for school. And I had promised him that I would just sit down and read with him. And I was more motivated to do that since I had lost my reading streak the other night. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to sit down this morning and spend some time reading. And as I was reading, I'm reading the book, The Brain That Changes Itself. So brain plasticity. And it started me asking questions because I wasn't totally understanding what I was reading. And so then I started Googling questions about different things. And as I was Googling the questions, the thought came to my mind, I've been asking questions in a very limited area, one specific area. I could broaden it to just being curious about things. And so I rethought my whole streak. It's still the same streak in the sense of ask a question, but I broadened it to be like, I can ask a question about any of these things that I'm curious about, not just in this one specific area that was what started me wanting to keep the streak. So in a time that is totally crazy, because I had that simple streak, I actually had an aha moment that I don't think I would have ever had in the midst of literally sitting in a camp chair with no furniture in a brand new house.
Well, one thing that is all our streaks are rooted in who we want to become.
Yep.
There is a deep reason why we keep our streaks alive. So one thing that I have come to realize is that who I want to be does not change based on the circumstances around me. Whether I'm moving, whether I'm in a predicament with work where there's something that I have to take care of, my environment doesn't dictate who I want to become. That doesn't change. And so therefore I keep my streaks alive regardless of environment. And I feel like we are able to do that now because of streaking, where before you didn't anticipate when moving from Georgia to Colorado to Utah that there's no way when starting those streaks that you did then that you'd be moving and doing all this stuff. That's why you made them laughably simple, to anticipate the times when you would be moving across the country, sitting on camp chairs in the middle of your living room because your furniture hasn't arrived yet. And that's the beauty of law number one, is you need that to anticipate, no matter how much motivation you have in the beginning, the urge to make it difficult. Why you need to make it laughably simple, because you can't predict the future.
You can't predict.
Yeah,
and you can't trust that it's going to be a habit. We've been doing this for
you're
going to
go there,
years?
huh? I was not going to go there, but you're going to go there. You opened up the door.
I can go
I'm going to go there.
You don't have to come through it.
Oh, I'm going through that
it.
because I'll tell you what, we've had some very passionate conversations about habits and goals.
But it's interesting to me that I've had my streak of read a paragraph in a book for years. Like multiple years.
Yeah, because what was it, 845 days?
Wait, that streak was 800 days old? And
no, it was a triple-digit streak.
Oh, my goodness.
No, we're talking about a
we need time
one.
to mourn together, streakers.
So she's going to look at that.
It wasn't that long, Jeff.
Oh, it wasn't? I thought you said years.
I did say years. It was 480.
Okay,
bad.
so just over a year.
Yeah.
Just over a year. That's
so
good.
you would think, though, that would just be a habit by now.
Yes, because I just attended a class that someone in a class full packed with people put a huge slide up that said the average amount of time that it takes to develop a habit is 66 days.
Do you want to bang your head on a wall?
Yes, I wanted to stand up and be like, it's
do.
not true.
Let me tell you from personal experience, from hundreds of people that are on the Streaking app, that's not
not true.
No, it's just
a
not
lie.
True. Yeah. We've been talking a lot about this, because if you would have said, so for example, you're reading streak, I have a goal to read to my boys, that has such a different connotation than I have a streak.
Yes.
To read to my boys. I have a goal to read to my boys. That immediately has built into it failure.
You can hear it when you say it.
And we were talking about this earlier, and I've been thinking about why. Because you said, when you say I have a goal, you give yourself permission to not necessarily hit it.
Right.
And so you're expecting that it's
97% of goals fail. 97%. So you're looking at it and saying, you know what? If I didn't hit it, at least I read to him more than I wouldn't have.
Right.
But I'm also going to give myself the opportunity to fail.
And I think that part of that, I know as I think about the difference between a goal and a streak, is a goal is something you're reaching for. And so you inherently know that you can't reach all the time, that there's going to be times that the circumstances are such that you're not going to be able to reach for that. Whereas a streak takes that away. You know, when you set the streak that you're accounting for the things when life gets crazy. And so you're like, no, I can do it all the time.
Yeah.
I can make it happen.
Well, there's a difference too. When you say I have the streak to read to my boys every day and the goal to read to my boys every day, it's the same activity, but the mentality behind it is different.
Totally
What we
different.
teach people is that it is completely 100% possible for you to do that every single day.
day.
Where a goal does not teach you that. It's saying you're going to set something really, really hard so that you can fall back to whatever you want to achieve. I disagree completely. It's because no one's ever done it before that they can prove to themselves that it's possible to read every day.
Okay, I got something for both of you. All right, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Goals are the lottery tickets of personal and professional development.
Amen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The lottery tickets.
Everyone stands in line waiting for them, hoping that they draw the right one, and then they fall back and they're like, oh, it's just a
And
waste.
if I don't get that one, I'll go buy several. I'll buy, 10 or 20 lottery tickets and maybe different numbers on each of them. And I have those different numbers in hopes that one of these will come through. And when they don't, I don't look at it as failure. I looked at it as, because every once in a while, one may get you a little bit of money. You'll take it in, you got $10. Oh, I'll just spend that $10 on the next 10 lottery tickets. So goals are literally the lottery tickets of personal and professional development.
Well, when people buy lottery tickets, it's the saying often that lottery is the tax on the poor.
Yes.
Right? And so what are goals then? The goals are the tax on the people who think that they work. And when really for some people they do. 3% of the population can set a goal and achieve it. 97% aren't met.
Okay, so you just brought up another thought that I just had, which is this: 3% make it. And what makes the news and what makes the Olympics and everything else? It's the rarest thing.
The winner, the lottery winner.
The lottery winner, not everyone else that failed, not the millions of people that have bought the lottery ticket and have failed. What they look at is just that. And what happens then is each one of us start to look at that and say, oh, I want to be there. I want to be there. So we do supposedly what those people are doing, which is setting goals. And actually, they're not doing that at all. We've done full studies on this, and they are not setting goals. What they are doing is focusing on their input and what they do every single day. Well, so everyone starts to set these goals, buy the lottery ticket. Let's buy the lottery ticket. And then when they fail at it, what happens is they blame themselves, not the tool. Not the lottery ticket. I don't blame the lottery ticket or the lotto or anything else. I start to blame myself. I just didn't pick the right numbers. If I had picked the right numbers, I would have gotten this. I guess I'm just not that good. That's just bullpucky.
Bullpucky, huh?
That's what came to
It's
mind.
an interesting thing.
But it is. It's just false.
It's an interesting thing to look at because a lottery ticket has no focus on an input other than that you pay some money.
It's hope.
It's hope. It's just this maybe hope of a big output, a huge reward
With little input.
with little input.
Little to no input, almost.
Isn't that amazing to think
So,
about?
yeah.
You're right. Well, because when people, they use that term goal and hope interchangeably. It's I have the goal to do this. It's I have the hope to do this. It's not necessarily I've set this in stone. It's going to happen. It's used as a hopeful word. Where a streak is very much this is what I am doing
Yes.
rather than what I hope to be doing
Yes.
and what I hope to achieve.
Was it you that said that the other day when, Ace came home from his mission for our church, and he's been home not quite a year yet, and he said he got a text from a person that he had served with that was home from his mission, and he had talked to him about streaking, and that person said, hey, I just want you to know I'm still streaking. And we were talking about it, and we thought, it's great because it's a verb. It's something you're doing. It's an action word. Nobody ever says, oh, I'm still goaling or I'm still habiting.
I didn't know we're talking about hockey. I guess it sounds like, like I'm habiting, I'm goaling.
I'm goaling.
Yeah, no, streaking,
But
it's a verb.
the streaking, it's something you're actively doing right now. And you get excited the fact that he would reach out to
Well, and
Ace
he
and
wanted
say, I just want you to know I'm still doing it.
And that is a perfect segue into what we want to talk about with you today, which is the absolute amazing work that's going into the Streaking app. And the Streaking app is becoming so much more than just another app on your phone. It becomes a place of not only personal and professional development, a place where you record what you've been doing, but now to the point that you were making with Ace's mission buddy who said, hey, I'm still streaking, that now shows up in the community on the Streaking app. And what we want to do is just talk a little bit with Talan, because he's been a major force behind this. Just a little bit behind, what he's done and how he's done it, and some of the things that he's thought about as he's gone into the Streaking app. Because Jami, you were a number one person who, when we were writing the book, you said we got to have an app.
And what's amazing is the reason I wanted an app is I wanted that dopamine thing of being able to check it off.
Yeah.
And then something that would keep accurate count of my streaks. What I love is, I love that it does that. I think that, but it's kind of like that was the basic thing. Now I look at it and I think it's amazing what it does in the social aspect of this boost of optimism and encouragement that I feel like it's giving. I was at lunch with a friend the other day and she was saying, I just love how positive it is, the posts that people put on the Streaking app. She goes, sometimes I just read through them because they're just positive and uplifting. And I was really excited because she had actually set a streak that inspired me to do something. And it was because of a post that she had put that then I was like, you know what? She's doing it. I can do it. And so just the synergy of optimism.
So did you ever envision
positive,
when you said we need an app that it would be that?
No, I did not see the social aspect of it at all. I just saw the ability to record with ease and for it to keep track. And it does that. And I love it. But I feel like that's become kind of the back seat of the app, and the front seat, the driving force is, I guess, this vision of being able to put so much positivity out into the world and so much encouragement of people doing small things and being really excited about it, and then being able to share it. And then as they do these small things, I feel like the actions that they're doing are small, but the comments and the things that they're learning are pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the comments that people put about their streak are very deeply profound.
Yeah.
And so that's a really neat thing to have the actions be relatively small, but they're posting about, but the consistency is teaching them amazing things about themselves and about the world around them.
And there's something about the app, and Talan, I want to get your thoughts on this as well, is the app is different in the sense that with social media, you pretty much post about anything. You kind of are out there, you're posting about anything. But in the app itself, in the Streaking app, you post about a streak. You post about your actions. That's fundamentally different than
very different
what other social media is.
You find on LinkedIn on most posts now, they say this is turning into Facebook. It's a common trend of what people are feeling that LinkedIn is turning into, because there's low barrier to entry to post and you can post whatever you want. Now, with Streaking, what makes it so unique is people are posting about things that they're actually doing, and not just doing once, but have streaks and are doing it for tens of hundreds and thousands of days in a row.
Yeah.
And when you have that, it puts a little bit more of an oomph behind what you have to say. When you see Jeff or Jami post about their streak that they've had for years, there's a little bit more oomph and validity behind what you have to say. So it's an interesting network that we are creating. I'm reading a book called The Cold Start Problem right now, and it's talking about network effects. And what that basically is, as an example, is when the first telephone was invented, the most valuable telephone was actually the second one, not the first. A telephone by itself has no value, but a telephone with a big network of telephones has immense value. And what we're building is a community of people where we all can grow together through the form of streaks. And we are providing a community, a network effect for those who care about making their life and the lives around them better.
So question for you then. So you really got, because Talan, we've told the story before. If you want to go listen to some of the different podcasts that we've had with Talan, we've had you on before and we've talked about your start with streaking, but you really got into the app. I mean, it was okay at first, but then you decided, you know what, I want to sink my teeth into this and I really want to make it happen. What was it inside of you that you decided to go that route?
It was seeing and feeling that this is something much bigger than what we are allowing it to be. And it's the same idea of like, okay, this is a great place to mark our streaks. There's an app for that already elsewhere.
Right.
What we now have and what we are creating, there is not another app for this. Like there's an app for that. It doesn't exist other than streaking. And to me, it is seeing that opportunity of there are a lot of people doing this. And what bothers me is it's an echo chamber in every other self-improvement app. It's just you, and you can share it with maybe one or two people, but you can't explore what other people are doing. You can't get inspiration for things that you wish you were doing and didn't know how to start. There wasn't anything out there like that. And so for me, I saw this as an opportunity to like, how can we develop something that inspires people to reach outside of their own bubble? Because the network provides a lot of benefits to the community members around it. For instance, meerkats. The more meerkats that are in their habitat, the more likely they are to fend off predators because they have an alert system between each other. So the more people that are in this network that we build with Streaking, the more powerful it will become for a place for you to search streaks that you're interested in, for you to get inspiration, for you to find products that will help you along with your streaks. There's just an immense opportunity for you to grow and in place, and that hasn't been created yet. So I wanted to be a part of that.
And it's been amazing because watching it grow from my little kernel of an idea of I need a better way to keep track of my streaks into what you are developing now. So Talan goes through the app daily, every single day, and is looking at how to make it better and then developing the prototypes of that in screen form that then you send to developers to say, this is exactly how I want it to look and the things that I want it to do. It's been amazing and so fun, I think, to be able to look at it and see, this is where we're going. This is what it's going to be able to do. And then for you and the vision that you have of being able to say, okay, I want to be able to do this. All of that intertwined with keeping the methodology as pure as possible.
Yeah.
Which I've really loved, I think. And by that comment, I guess what I'm saying is what you were just saying is that you post on the streak. People are talking about things they're already doing.
Yeah.
So as you were talking, I was thinking about just in the app the last couple of days, some of the things that have been going on. And someone sees a streak to pick up the guitar daily. That's an inspiring streak when someone's like, oh, she's
you know what?
picking up the guitar daily. That's it.
Yeah. When I saw that, I thought, you know what? I've always wanted to pick up the guitar and learn the guitar. I have no guitar experience whatsoever, but pick up and learn the guitar and learn it in the sense of so that I could do sing-alongs with people. Because I've always loved those sing-along type songs.
Me too.
And I thought that'd be so much fun. Mm-hmm. And when she wrote that in what she was doing to pick up the guitar, I thought, you know, that's something I could possibly do. I could set a streak for that.
Exactly. And if it was not a social aspect, you would have never noticed that someone else had this.
Exactly.
There's a benefit to seeing what other people do because sometimes we're not as creative ourselves with what we want to be doing.
Right.
We need a little bit of inspiration.
One of my favorite examples of that is somebody set a streak that they have a list of their hobbies. So she's like, I have this list of hobbies that I love to do, but I know I can't do all of them every day. And so she has a streak to pick something from her hobby list to do that day.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of doing something like that, but also thought about it and was like, oh, that's a really good idea because there's so many things I want to do, but that same feeling of like, I don't want to set a streak around all of them. I can't maintain that. But this idea of I've got this list of things that I want to do and I can pick from it each day. And I'm continuing to pursue those talents and those hobbies in a way that allows me to keep thinking about it.
Absolutely. And going back to what you were saying about your first vision of the app, this ties perfectly into streaking. Your first vision of the app was, I need a place to keep track of my streaks. But as we kept working on it, look what it's developed to. With any streak, you start where you pick up the guitar once from knowing nothing. 2 years, 3 years later, look what you have.
Exactly.
You're able to play these songs. You're able to develop an app now where it's a social media platform for people who care to improve and connect with others who care about the same things.
Yeah.
You don't start off and you're not a pro the next day.
No.
And that's the lottery winner. You don't buy the ticket and then you're rich the next day. It just
too.
doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
And so it's really nice to normalize this thinking of like, no, you're not going to become perfect the next day, nor will you in 100 days, but you're going to improve between day 1 and day 100.
Right.
Exactly. So question for you, we've got a lot of upgrades that are coming to the app, a lot of things that you've been working on with the developers. What are some of the things that you're most excited about where you're like, oh, this is going to be so great, where you're clicking on the app right now and being like, oh, that's not available yet.
Yeah, this is the prototype. Something I'm really excited about is for when people first download the app, their ability to get in and create their first streak. What I've found is it needs to be a simpler process. We talk about laughably simple. for creating a streak? Well, our process needs to be laughably simple. And within that process, presenting people with streaks that they would be interested in. For instance, when you come into the app, we want to know what you're interested in so we can present you with streaks that people have already tried and tested so that you can adopt for yourself, because a lot of people don't know what they want to get started on. They just know that they want to get started.
Right.
So I want to help people get started in the right direction and present them with streaks to do that. So that's one thing I'm really excited about.
That'll be really cool because, you know, as we talk about streaks and streaking, it is something that's new vocabulary in the world today. Right now, streaks are not part of the conversation when it comes to personal and professional development.
No.
We're going to be changing that because streaks are the way to professional and personal develop. And this will be one of those things that people will need a little bit of a hint and a help to be able to know, okay, oh, that's a streak. Oh, that's a streak.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, a lot of times when people hear the methodology or they've tuned into the podcast or they've read the book, what they start to do is think about all the things they can streak on and make them embarrassingly hard. I mean, ridiculously
I love that.
difficult.
Embarrassingly hard.
Embarrassingly hard.
Yes.
rather than laughably simple, where I can keep the streak alive because it's setting up the winning streak. So having a suggested place where I can look at and consider what streaks are already out there and adopt a few of those, that'll be pretty cool.
I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about the community aspect of how you're able to see streaks that are completed in real time so that you can see the active community. Even though someone may not be posting, it's showing that they're keeping their streak alive.
Right.
And seeing that this is a growing movement that you can see and visualize is really important for people to keep going in their own
Okay,
streaks.
so that's another aspect of it. So we got to back up just a second. So currently in the app or in anywhere else, and this is an important point, when you mark something, it just indicates to yourself that you've marked it. You've done it, right?
Just you.
Just
and only
you.
you know.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And so echo chamber, your life in a vacuum, whatever it is, what you're saying is the next coming up will be when I mark my streak complete, a public streak, it will post and show that it was completed, which I look at and consider at the top of our website. We have the streaking banner, the ticker tape.
Yeah.
This will be live ticker tape that's happening that everyone can be able to see all the action. It gives it life. It's like the heartbeat.
Yeah. The streak is the heartbeat. So seeing that and visualizing that has been really fun to conceptualize and come up with.
I think also it gives that when we very first wrote the book, we talked about the pointillism picture.
Yes.
Georgia Seurat's. What's the name of the picture again?
The Sunday afternoon on Le Grand Jatte.
Thank you for pulling
on the
that
Grand Jatte.
without any preparation. I love that when you're talking about having this running thing of everybody marking off their streaks, it's that pointillism picture. You can look out and think all of these people are doing all of these small things to improve, but it's this amazing picture. And when you look at that picture in the Art Institute of Chicago, it's a huge painting.
Oh,
it's
massive.
not a small painting. It's enormous.
It's
one of the biggest paintings
6 feet
I've ever
high, 10
seen.
feet wide.
Yes. So it's just this amazing visual of these grand things happening with all these tiny little dots, all these little people that every day are picking up their guitar or writing one sentence in their journal or doing something nice. We just had someone a teenager hit 500 days on do something nice for somebody every day. Like
that's amazing.
You talk about putting hope back in to the world. That's an amazing thing. And that feeling, that synergy of feeling like, okay, I'm not alone. A lot of people out there are doing tiny little things every day to get better. They're focusing on their inputs and they just keep doing it.
So something we have been talking about for quite some time, and I'm pretty much a stickler on this one, is that people can only post in the app on their streak. Now, of course, there's always a way around that, but my whole thing is, no, you have to have a streak in order to post. What have you guys thought about that?
I've come around, to be honest, that I look at it and I think I love it because it keeps the methodology in place and that focus of what you were saying, that you are posting and talking about things that you are doing. And that's what this forum is for, is it's like, this is what I'm doing and this is what I have to say about it.
Yeah.
So I like it.
I like it too. Now that, and another concept we're coming up with, different ways to post. We want this to be an active community. So you're able to attach questions, polls, that type of stuff. Before I was like, I want to ask questions. And now attaching to that streak, it makes sense. For instance, I have the streak to read at least one paragraph from a nonfiction book. I could post the poll of between these 3 books, what should I choose for my next book?
Right.
Like, so it's just making it a more active place. What I found too is people struggle with posting on the app because it's hidden in the feed currently. So what we're doing is we're going to be adding that to the main navigation. And you say, why is it so important to post? Why is
that's a good question.
That is a good
important
question.
to
Why
post?
is it important? What does it matter?
And it's part of law number 3 of join the streaking community. And by joining the streaking community, not only does posting statistically and scientifically improve the chances of you keeping that streak alive, but it also improves the chances of other being motivated to keep their streak alive. So by posting, you are doing a service for yourself and for others in the streaking community to keep this movement alive, because we know that doing this action for a sustained amount of time is going to lead to a massive change in your life.
That is so good. And I've experienced that personally. Do you feel like you've experienced that, Jeff, where
100%.
I know that I've been motivated to keep my streaks alive as I've watched what other people are doing? And
for
vice
me,
versa.
it's done a little bit different because I'm motivated to keep my streak alive because the record. What it's done for me is motivate and inspire me to look at different streaks and what other types, who I can become, and see what creative, neat ideas other people have. And that's been inspiring because we've often talked about this. What if we didn't have an app? What if we didn't have the book? What if we didn't have anything? Would I still be streaking? Absolutely. Without fail.
Yeah. There's no way I could go to anything else after streaking.
I know, that's been me too, because I've been successful. Yeah. So when I broke my reading streak, you're like, well, did you start it again? I'm like, yeah, without even a question. Because why wouldn't I?
And that does 2 things for you now. Just a little segue on this is 1, you start the streak again, and 2, you actually have a little competition with yourself to see if you can get past where you were. Can I get past the 400 and some odd days that you were, and keep that going?
And it's competition with you. Not with
Exactly.
anyone else.
Not
with
with
you.
anyone else.
That's the coolest thing is you're not competing with others. You're competing with yourself. People often look at the law number 3 as for accountability. And maybe for some it might be. We look at Cal Ripken Jr. streak, and there's some sense of everyone's watching. I'm going to come out and play the game to break the record. That has an effect, but not as much as the internal factor of keeping the streak alive. And so I really do like that the community isn't about challenging. It's not about competition, but it really is a support for you and your streaks.
It really is. I want to talk a little bit about this idea of adopt a streak, because we mentioned it, but I don't think that if you're listening to this, you really don't understand what it is that we're talking about.
How important this is.
So talk a little bit about that and some of the things that you're developing in the app as far as the adopt a streak, and how I want to make it an NFT.
Yeah, so it's your own. You own the streak of
that's right.
Run or walk at least 1 mile.
It's your non-fungible token, and you get to own that. But
yeah, so when I first was told about streaking by you two is at a wedding, and you told me about some of your streaks. Well, one of them I later adopted by having to input and ask you what it was and figure out, okay, now how often do you do it? We want to make this a very simple process for everyone. So now when Jeff posts about his read at least 1 paragraph from a nonfiction book, next to that post, I can click adopt, and boom, I now have that streak. It just takes all the guessing out of it, because Jeff has been successful in this. I know that he's tried it out and it works. I no longer have to formulate streaks that have already been proven to be successful. I can simply click a button to adopt that streak, and now it is my streak.
Yeah.
And then Jeff gets the notification saying so-and-so adopted your streak along with 500 other people. And you get to see the effect you're having on the world.
I think that's cool.
So if you're one of the first people to have the streak in crocheting, in running, in reading, in writing, in any aspect, in kindness, then you could have the opportunity to have hundreds and thousands of people adopt your streak and see the effect that you had on the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is going to be one of the things that'll be really cool, because as you see people adopt your streak, that's another thing that I want to keep the streak alive.
Yep.
Right. I love it too. I love the power of it.
Yeah.
And the ease and the power.
Laughably simple.
Laughably simple, but huge amounts of power in the end of it, of things that can be accomplished.
Yeah.
All right. So one other improvement that's coming that we are all very, very excited about: groups. I mean, that is something that we've been toying with and thinking about for a long time.
Yeah, groups is going to be very different for many people because we've all heard of Facebook groups.
Right. So tell us how it's different and what you've been designing for.
For instance, I use an app called Viome right now, and it tracks my gut health. And they say join our Facebook group.
Are you really going to bring this up again? Is this the feces test?
It's the feces test where it tells you your gut health. I sent it in through the postal service, and they told me that I need to eat healthier and what foods are good for me and bad for me.
He sent his poop through the postal service.
Yes.
Hey, but you got a lot of information out of that. So,
tax dollars at use right there.
You know,
So,
there you go.
But what I noticed is they said join our Facebook group. Now, why would you want a streaking group over a Facebook group? And here's why. The Facebook group is merely just communication. What the streaking group is action. So when you create a group, let's say this company wanted to create a group on the Streaking app, you would say, open this Viome app to look at your superfoods daily. That would be the streak. And you could then adopt that streak and see in the group who is all doing this. Because you know what Viome really wants? They want you to have better gut health.
Right.
They want you to know what your superfoods are and what to avoid and what all this information that you have paid for and that you should be using. So instead of going through the Facebook app, you actually want to create a group of people who are doing something about the information and product you've provided.
Okay, hold on just a second because this is pretty cool. So let's say, for example, you created a group and you called it the Gut Health Group.
Great.
Okay. Then what you then could do is suggest 1, 2, or 3 different streaks that anyone who joined that group could adopt.
Yeah, what you
Is that
recommend.
right?
So like you're as the group creator, you recommend, these are the things I recommend you do. And if you do these things, then you'll have a better gut health.
So you could have this as a family. If you wanted to have a family group, if you wanted to have a group around a specific activity, you could have all of that. And basically then, so once I signed up for your group and I'm in it, what do you see as the group owner?
So as the group owner, I can see who has joined the group and I can see who has adopted what streak and what day, week, or month they're on for their streak length. And so for you as a group owner, and not just the owner, everyone gets to see that, oh, these 10 people have adopted this streak and they're on day 20, day 40, day 500. So if you're a coach, you can see and mentor the people who might be doing really well or might need a little bit of help to keep their streak alive. Or if it's just this camaraderie of like, look at all of us, we're actually doing something about what we care about.
Yeah.
So it's an action-focused group rather than just communication. You can communicate in the Facebook group. Great, go there. But if you want to really actionize and do something about what you've paid for or the information, you don't go to Facebook. You go to the Streaking app.
That's blowing my mind.
And the ability to have this whole group of people that are doing it, I look at the comments that are going to be a part of that group and the things that you're going to learn from that group and the questions that you can ask and the things that you can share will be monumental. And it's all among people who are actively choosing to do it. That's huge.
For instance, when you post to the group, you'll select a streak to post about because you post about streaks. And so you'll see open the Viome app 7,000 days in a row. This person has a lot more information than a lot of people do on the Facebook app. This person knows
And that's
more.
where I can ask a question.
You can ask a question to comment like, hey, what should I, in the group, you say, you know, what superfoods have been most beneficial for you? Or what vitamins do you recommend? And he'll say, actually, within the app, you can order your own personal ones.
Right.
And personalize them.
Wow.
That's what I did. So it's information that is way more applicable to what you care about because people are doing it so
They're
consecutively.
actively doing it, yeah.
It's not just the people who have nothing else to do on Facebook so they can comment just to comment. These are people who actually do stuff about their life.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So go ahead. Do you have a
Just
question?
the ability to be able to trust that. I know for myself, and especially right now moving to a new location, I've felt that pang of like, I don't have anybody to call to ask questions.
Right.
I don't have that person that I can be like, oh, I can trust what they tell me. In the app with these groups, there's going to be that built-in feeling of these people are doing it. I can trust that they know what they're talking about.
Exactly. The trust level and the high level communication that will happen within streaking groups is going to be unheard of.
Yeah.
So tell us, can I have private groups, public groups? What are the groups like? I mean, how could I have that?
So you can have a public group, meaning anyone can find or access your group. They can join your group right from there. Or you can have private groups, and there's 2 different types. There is searchable, findable private groups, meaning you can search and request to join, but there's also hidden private groups, meaning if you have a sensitive topic and you don't really want people to find this group, it's something, maybe it's just with family or friends, then it's invite only. And so it
Okay.
kind of secures your group just for that group and the members, or you can have it a public where it's like, I want everyone and their moms to join this group.
So if I have a private group and
A private hidden? Is
Yeah,
that-
private
Private
hidden.
hidden
Sorry,
group.
private hidden. That's I got it. If I have a private hidden group and I'm posting to it, then only the people in my group can really see that.
And no one else. It's completely locked down. So you can have confidence that this is your group.
And no one can join that group
Nope.
unless they are invited.
Only
They're not going
Right,
to
'cause
be
they can't even
searching
find
it
it.
and
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah, you can't
That's
search and
really
find.
cool.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
But then it'll also be great to have groups out there where people can look and be like, oh, there's a whole group of people doing this. I didn't even know. There's a group of people that really are doing underwater basket weaving. I want to join
I
that
wanna
group.
join it.
I didn't know anyone else was.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You'll be able to find that
And you'll
group.
be able to learn so much from them because they
Yeah.
do it all the time.
Because it will be the streak that they have. I
Exactly.
mean, the streak will
Exactly.
be, go underwater basket weaving at least one time daily or weekly.
Weekly.
Probably weekly would be laughably simple. Maybe monthly.
Unless these people are just have like, I don't know, they build a custom home and they have underwater basket weaving in their house.
In their house.
Something
Yeah,
like
they
We
that.
can
never
do it.
know. What everyone's laughably simple is different, right?
Is it? Yep.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow.
There is going to be a lot of opportunity in the groups.
So when is all this? I mean, developing the app, prototyping the app, and everything else takes quite a while. When will releases come? Will it all come at once? Will it come a little bit at a time, or what does it look like?
So it's important that we don't shock the users that we have. So if you're listening to this and that you have the app, don't worry. We're not going to just release a whole new app for you to figure out. We're going to communicate with you. We're going to let you know that this is coming and it's going to come in phases. So we're determining which phases to release first, but it's going to come in a way that's going to make total sense. Like I said, we're making this laughably simple. This is not going to make the app harder. It's actually going to make it a lot easier.
And a lot more intuitive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I just left. So we talked to someone we just met today because we're in a new neighborhood about streaking and got that same initial response that we always do of, oh, streaking, huh? What is that?
we didn't think you were that kind
We
of
didn't
couple.
think- Exactly. And it's always so fun to see how quickly they turn from thinking, wow, you guys run through naked? I don't know what to think about that, to, oh, I want to join the streaking community. I've got some streaks that I'm doing.
Yes.
And I just love that as we continue to work with the app, and it will become something that is completely different to people and becomes an entire movement.
There's one other aspect of it that I'd love for you to talk about, and that's the Explore. Because we had a user comment that they want to find how to do streaking inside the Streaking app.
Oh,
And currently, we don't really do that as well. I mean, there's a little bit because I'll post a streaking tip every week, and so you can go to that within the posts.
Yeah.
But there's a whole nother aspect of this that's going to be really cool as well.
For people that listen to this podcast, you probably want all things streaking. It's just how it happens. You start to see the effects that it has on your life, and so you're like, I need to learn everything I can. So on the Explore page will be all the resources for you to learn about streaking. What are the 3 laws? All the blog posts of I broke a streak, now what? How many streaks should I have? Those types of questions. Everything will be inside the app, so you don't have to leave it and find an article, go to the website. Everything is going to be within the app. This will eventually turn into a place where you can find products that are related to your streaks that will assist you. If you have a running streak, you probably want to know what products, what shoes to buy. We want to suggest products so that you can be aligned with things that will help you keep your streak alive. So this Explore page and the Discover page is going to really impact your ability to learn about streaking and also improve your streaks through products.
Yeah, and just and to be very transparent there, that's where people will, or organizations and individuals will advertise. But we'll keep it within that Explore area so that basically you have a chance, and you'll want to go there because there'll be things that are of interest to all of us, based on whatever streaks you have at that time.
Exactly. Yeah, this is a very valuable community, a very valuable app. For the reason being, we are rebelling against the personal improvement industry. We are saying, no, goals they work for 3% of the people. Unless you're the 3%, congratulations. If you're the 97, come start streaking. If you don't develop a habit after 66 days, no one else does either. So start
Exactly.
streaking too. Like, we are changing and rebelling against all the ideas that you need to set a goal or start a habit. Or even, I don't know if start a habit. That sounds so gross to say. Start streaking. And
it's an
and
interesting thing, though. When was the last time you heard someone say, hey, I've started a habit?
Yeah.
In a positive way. You hear
That's
a lot
true.
of times, oh, I got to break the habit. But not very often do you hear, "Oh, I've started a new habit and I'm doing great."
So if you do this, you're rebelling against all of that.
Yeah,
and you're going to start streaking.
Yeah, so be a rebel, join the movement, and start streaking. Speaking of, so we're going to be changing a couple of things. One, Jamie and I will continue to our podcast that we'll have on a weekly basis, interviewing guests, like we have Talan as one of the guests on our Streaking podcast. Some of you know that Talan and I have had a different podcast called The Streaking Professional. We've decided that we're going to move away from the Streaking Professional. In other words, it was very targeted to a professional business type audience. And we are going to Talan's point, we are looking at the personal and professional development industry, and we are saying to rebel against what everyone promotes out there as personal and professional development and really start streaking. And it's very easy to do. So in concert with that, we are starting a new daily show, and it's not going to be the Streaking Professional anymore, but it will be daily in the sense of Monday through Friday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're going to have Streaking Daily.
Your daily dose of streaking.
Yeah. And Streaking Daily will be mainly hosted by Talan and I. And every once in a while, Jamie may come on Streaking Daily, and Laurel may come on, and we may have different people that talk about it. But the whole idea is for you to be able to get just a daily dose, very quick, of streaking. So
yeah, your motivation. As you keep your streaks alive on a daily basis, you need the constant learning and opportunity to be motivated to keep that alive. We want to assist you in that journey.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Be looking for the new app. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's, again, going to be upgraded as we go. Right now, it's great, and it's going to get even better. If you want to reach out to Jamie or I, please do so via email. I'm Jeffrey, Jeffery, at streakingmastery.com, or
Jami, Jami, at streakingmastery.com.
You can also find us on any of the social media platforms, and also download or order the book and read it and get the methodology. And most of all, Talan, what should they do?
Keep streaking.